Alrighty, here we are finally getting to the culmination of everything, and you're in lesson 9. And this is where you are going to learn about hyperlinks. I will show you how to put the navigation bar up on the top that they want you to put on your web page. You will put your licensing on the bottom of your web page, and then we'll go from there. Alrighty, so make sure you are on code.org in lesson 9. Here is this first diamond here, and it talks about the overview. We're going to cover hyperlinks. Specifically, not just not branching out to other websites, but we're going to build it so that within your own web page, you will have the different screens connected to each other for your one website. Okay, so we talk about hyperlinks. It's a link from an HTML file to another location or file, typically by activating or clicking on that. And the code that you are going to see starts with an A, and you'll see this in a little bit as we get going. So here's kind of similar to the image tag, similar type of format. Okay, we start with the letter A. So notice at the front, we start with our bracket or the less than symbol with an A. And at the end, you'll close with an A. But here's what the way this structure looks. You have A space. You'll type href. That is talking about a hypertext reference. So you see that under the number 2 bullet here, or circle. So you type href equals, and then in quotation marks, you are going to put where is the location that you want to link to. In your web page, you're going to choose one of the other pages of your website. It could be an outside URL address as well. Then, when you end the quotation marks, you'll put this arrow here. And then in this spot, this is where you're going to type the text that you want to see. That will turn blue and underline, so it's like the hot link there, okay? And then you put another arrow and close it out with another A and another arrow that way, okay? It says A is short for anchor in this case, and the closing tag will end your link. As always, if you have more questions, you can always click their hyperlink to W3 Schools, which has tons of information as well, okay? All right, then go ahead and hit continue. All right, so here they're going to have you practice one, okay? I'll remind you again, there is information up here. There's always information here that goes into more explanation. So take a moment to open these up and read them, okay? And it's kind of nice to have this up so that when you're going to start to type, you have a format in which to follow, okay? That's nice. A reminder that there's also this documentation that takes you to specific things. So when you have hyperlink, it'll show you what to do there. All right. It's always good to use that extra resource. So do this. I can't stress this enough. Do this and read it. Use the inspector tool to see the code that creates the hyperlinks on the top of index.html. So here in level 3, you have 4 different pages. See here? Here's your file list. They have candy, they have index, that's the main page, juggle, and they have recipe. So eventually your web page is going to have at least 3. You have your main page right now and a list, and hopefully you've started working on that 3rd page, and if not, you will now. So it asks you to please click on the inspector tool. When you do that and you start to hover with your mouse, it starts to highlight in this area the actual code. So my heading, all the lists, notice that's a H1 tag. When I start looking at this first link, the Scotcheroos recipe, see how this is highlighted over here. You have A space href equal sign. This is linking to that recipe page. Then they put this arrow and then they typed Scotcheroos recipe. That's what appeared right here. That's the text that's going to be your hot button, hot link there, okay? And then they close it out. Look at how to juggle. See how the code shows up. Look at fun facts about candy, and you'll see how that one is structured, okay? So as you're sitting with a partner, talk about how you think that code works. Okay, so as you look at it, notice every single one of these has this A space href for the hypertext reference for your link. So then once you think you're kind of seeing how it works, it says click on the recipe HTML. Okay, add a hyperlink to the top of this page that will take you back to index HTML. Okay, now I already put mine in there and I'm going to get it out of there so that it disappears, just to force you to figure out how to do this. So in front of Scotcheroos. Okay, so I want it even before this. So here's where my heading tag is for Scotcheroos. So come up here. If you don't have any space between the body tag and your H1 heading tag, add some extra returns in there so you've got some room to type. So remember I said if you opened up these hyperlinks, you'll have an example right there to go by. All right, so start with your opening of your tag and you're going to type A space href. Notice next comes an equal sign. And the nice thing is once I hit that equal sign, it pops up with the 4 files I already have in my existing HTML files. So I am going to choose, it said here, takes us back to the index page. So click on that. Notice how it puts it in quotation marks, okay? Now, because this is a hyperlink, you have to put an arrow there, all right? Notice up here in this example, now I have to choose the text that I want to appear that's going to go right up here, that's going to turn blue once I get this programmed properly. I don't think it matters if you put a space or not. I'm just going to say homepage or something like that, all right? Then put that /A to close out the tag. And oh my gosh, look at that. It's right there. Okay. If you don't like the way this looks, maybe you just want it to say home, then just change it. And look, it's doing it live for you right there. Cool beans. Okay. So now test it to make sure it works. If you click on it, you should get your mouse and it'll take you back to the index page. Is this the index page? All the lists? Yep. When I click on recipe, now I have this up here. Hot diggity. There we go. All right. Sweet. All right. We're done with level 3. Let's move on. Now it's asking you, aha, here's your project that you've gotten so far. Notice it says you'll be linking the 2 pages by creating a navigation bar at the top of the page. Websites usually have the same navigation bar across all of their pages, so you can get back and forth between things on the site. You can see an example of a navigation bar on this page. Let's click. So take a look up here. So here's an example of a website, and it says, see at the top, you have homepage, how to juggle, my life, and summer. So if you click on those, when I click on homepage, this is the homepage. So it looks like it's not doing anything. When you click on how to juggle, there's that page. Go back to the homepage. Click on my life, blah, blah, blah. There you go, homepage. Summer, click on that, homepage. Okay? Cool. Hey, by the way, notice they've got their attribution listed for using this picture from the Pexels website, and they listed it as Creative Commons 0, which means it was public domain and free to use. So you go to your webpage. Here's mine right here. Okay. All about musicals, blah, blah, blah. I need to add up here at the top. Okay, so here's my web page right here. When in doubt, turn your inspector tool on. You'll see where it is. I'm going to get my hypertext links up here. The first one I want you to do is your home page. And They say choose the page, your home page that you're on. I'm on the index page and I'm putting a hypertext link here, and I'll explain why in a second. I'm just going to call it home. Close out the tag. Okay, so there it is. Super, super, super. All right, next, I got a link to my other page. The other page I had up there was my top 10 list. So I'm going to start typing another hypertext link. Oops, get that fixed. Hit the equal sign. Now I'm going to pick my top 10. That's my other page. Okay, and there I can type whatever I want. I could say page 2. I'm going to just call it top 10. And then I'm going to close out that tag. Okay. Let's see where we're at. Oh, and you know what? I forgot something. Do you see how it's turning pink? I've got to put that extra one in there. And then all of a sudden, boom, there it is. Sweet. All right. That's all you have to do as far as getting those 2 links. But then it says copy the code for the navigation bar and add it to the top of the list page. So right now, I'm on my main index page and I've got my 2 hot link buttons there. Go ahead and highlight these 2 hyperlinks, copy them, go to your other page, which I've got right here. Make sure that you are within the body tag and that you're above your heading. And if you just paste it in there, now they're right there as well. So test them and make sure they work. Yep, there's home, top 10, home, top 10. When I go to this page, that works. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Test your links in the preview area. We did that. Hit finish. Now, on your personal website now, you'll be completing and publishing it. So here are some examples. Notice this is a link, so you can go ahead and click on those if you want some ideas as to what yours should look like. You are going to add another page. We've talked about this in class. So figure out what you want to have for that 3rd page. Some of you may have already added that, but you follow along on your project guide and make sure that you do that. All right. I have not added one yet, so I know I definitely need to add a 3rd one. Notice, always get between your body tags and decide what you want to put in here. My favorite roles or something like that, or why I like singing. And I probably want to make that a little bigger. I'm going to go in front of that and make sure that I have that there. And I'm going to start adding some things in there. I'm going to work along at this. Keep going and keep going as you work along. You can add as much or tweak as much. Check your pages for spelling and those kinds of things. Okay. All right. Check your images. So it's going to say, make sure you remember what pictures you've got, what you want, and make sure that you've used the proper attribution. Now, I'm going to remind you, if you have a picture and you've been searching, so let's say I wanted something from the musical Les Mis, okay, and I want some images from Les Mis. I can't just grab any of these. Will you always make sure you hit the tools and click on that bottom one, and then we can start digging. All right. Usually if you see something on Wikimedia, usually you can find the proper sourcing there to find out who took the picture, where it's coming from, if it's in public domain. Okay. So this one, will you happen to notice there are some rights that are reserved here. This one says Creative Commons, share alike. Okay. Here's the author. So if I wanted to use this picture, I would say from or by this person, Wikimedia Commons, and then I would put on the CC, BY, and SA for share alike. Okay? Attribution, share alike. Make sure you put that on there. Double check all of yours. On the project guide, it does ask you specifically to make sure that you've put that on there. So that's what you do in 7. In 8, it just says add more HTML to the page that you've sketched. So you've got to add in whatever you're going to here. I'm just going to get rid of something here so that I can show you how to do that last stage. So basically 9 is just saying get some pictures, get some paragraphs, make it look good, make sure it's formatted properly. Here is in level 9 where I want you to get this thing on here. All right, so I'm going to cut it out just so that you can see what I want you to do. Okay, make sure you have a navigation bar at the top that links to the other pages. Now I added this 3rd page and I haven't even added everything to it, but I got to make sure I add a hyperlink to that last page. So I got to get up here where the code for my other 2 hyperlinks are, and I've got to start typing in what's going to link to my new page. Now I haven't even named that yet, but I know it's going to be something about favorite roles, okay? So now notice I've got that 3rd one, and I better make sure that, well, actually, I got to make sure that all of this is on each page. So here was my main page. Remember I had my top 10 page there? I have to make sure I've got the links to all 3, home, top 10, and roles. And then on my final page up here, I'm going to add in those hypertext links again. And then I can keep building on what I want this 3rd page to look like. But now everything is linked, okay? Everywhere is linked. Good. The last thing that they're going to ask you to do after you get everything done, it says for each page, make sure it has a footer at the bottom that explains the copyright information for your page. Go to Creative Commons for help in creating this. When you click on that link, it takes you here. Scroll down to the bottom. Right here it says have a web page. Here's how you are going to get this artwork to be on your page. It says copy this code to let your visitors know. So start right here. And you need to copy and highlight all of that text. Go back, and on every single one of your pages at the very end, so go right down to just before the closing body tag and paste that big long set of code that you just copied and see what happens. You get all of this. Sweet. Do the same thing to the 2nd page right before the closing body tag. Boom. And it will put that licensing information on there. And then on my very last page that I've got before the closing body tag, put that in there. Once you progress through level 9, then you can go ahead, double check. It says each of the pages needs a navigation bar and a footer, so make sure at the top you have the links within your page. You can certainly add more links within, but they want you to format them at the top, and at the very bottom you have your licensing information. Make sure that's on all of your pages, okay? Look, and make sure it's on all of your pages. When you have that, then go ahead and run through this final checklist. By now, you should have a rubric and everything else. Once I give you the go-ahead and I look at it, then you can hit this share button at the top, and it will put your page live and you can send it. I don't want you to hit that share button until I've had a chance to go through it with you. I want your peers to go ahead and look at it as well. We'll do peer review and everything, and I want to make sure there are no embarrassing typos or anything before you share it with your family. All right? As always, good luck. I'm excited to see all of your work.